Hello everyone and welcome back to Car and Bike. I'm Bilal and this is the MG Windsor EV Pro. Now what is a Pro that you may ask? Well, because the Windsor EV, it's a relatively new car. It was launched in September last year and it has right off the bat found many takers, especially because of its space, comfort, practicality and the features that it offers. Now this Windsor, it is averaging at around 3,000 units every month and it has already found close to 20,000 takers. Well, let me return back to the question, what is a Pro? Well, it is a new range-topping version and it is launched in India and it gets you 5 new things. And these 5 things are: first, a bigger battery pack, which also gets you V2L and V2V function. Apart from ADAS, that is a new driver assist hardware which wasn't available before. You also get a power tailgate and new paint scheme inside and out. Well, these are all the 5 things that you get with the Pro version. But don't leave yet, because in this video we'll tell you with a fresh perspective, because you see I haven't spent a lot of time with the Windsor since it was launched. So in this video I'll tell you everything that you need to know about the Windsor EV, everything you need to know about the Pro, and also whether or not you should buy it. So before we go ahead, do consider subscribing to the Car and Bike YouTube channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon as well so that you can be notified every time we bring out a new informative video such as this one. First up, it's the exterior paint scheme. You get 3 new paint options with this Pro version. You get this subtle blue, which is very sober looking, and it is as sober looking as the blues that you usually get in Skodas. Yeah, it's that level good. You also get a bright red, which is personally my favorite because it complements the unique styling of the Windsor EV. There's also another subtle grey. And apart from that paint scheme, you also get a new alloy wheel design. Now this alloy wheel design is very special looking because it is much better than the plain Jane ones you get in a standard 38 kWh battery pack version. One another change, which is the instant recognizable factor for this Pro variant, is the ADAS badge at the back, and that's all the changes that you would see on the exterior. Now, be it the body style, the proportions or the styling elements, the Windsor is a very unique looking car. It stands out, and that's the most talked about trait of the Windsor. But what's your opinion about the styling? Do you like it, don't like it, or want to change something on this? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But before we go ahead and talk about the interior of this Windsor EV Pro, there's one new feature addition that is part of this Pro update, and that is the power tailgate. Now, if you thought the exterior was unique, the interior of the Windsor EV is even more so. Now, firstly, part of this Pro update is this black and ivory theme that you get inside this cabin. It feels more luxurious and more premium. But apart from that, there's no changes inside the cabin. You get this very modern, very unique looking cabin which is dominated by a large touchscreen on the dashboard. Now, apart from the touchscreen which controls almost every single thing, you get soft touch materials over here, the wooden finishes, and this unique looking center console with not 1, not 2, but 3 cup holders, which can also be removed and made space for extra material over here. This floating center console also has space underneath that adds to the practicality and the comfort or the space inside this cabin. Even the visibility and the feel good factor inside this cabin, it's really good, and that's what's attracting so many buyers to the Windsor EV. But the pet peeve over here is the fact that every little control is integrated into this touchscreen. Every single control, even trip meter needs to be reset through the touchscreen. AC, ventilated seats, boot opening, and even the drive modes, everything is right here. It's good for new generation kids who love their screens, but for boomers and millennials like us, this is irksome. But the good part is that the touchscreen is large, wide, bright, colorful, and has a smooth touch. Doesn't lag a lot and has a good simple interface as well. Now, I particularly love the seats over here as they are more like a couch rather than a proper automotive seats, especially at the back because it's the best place to be. The seats are not sofa-like, they are a proper sofa. More importantly, they recline and recline a lot. Even the stitching of this leatherette upholstery, it reminds me of old school couches, and these seats are just as comfortable. Even the sense of space and visibility is good, and the comfort is more than bargain. Maybe this is the reason why, as I said earlier, the Windsor was an instant hit amongst the car buyers. Now, the biggest update for the Pro comes in a form of a bigger battery pack, as I mentioned earlier. Now, this bigger battery pack, it measures 52.9 kilowatt hour. And before I tell you more about it in detail, here is a quick fact. Now, internationally, the Wuling derivative of the Windsor EV, it also has a bigger battery pack. It measures around 50.1 kilowatt hour. And we were under the assumption that the same battery pack would be offered here in India. But that's not the case, because the battery pack that is fitted here in the Pro, it's made here in India itself. Oh yes, the Halol plant in Gujarat, the battery is assembled over there, and the spokesperson who told me this information also told me that 90% of the team that assembles this battery pack here in India, it comprises of female. Way to go for women empowerment, right? Now, this bigger battery pack, it comprises of 98 cells, which is assembled here in India, each comprising of 117 ampere and just over 3 watt of power. So the 52.9 kilowatt hour capacity, that's how you get that calculation. More importantly, with the bigger battery pack, you have a longer range. The claim range now stands at 449 kilometers compared to the 330 something kilometers of the 38 kilowatt hour. Now, the best part of the electric vehicles from MG is, I'm telling this from my own experience, is that all the EVs that MG is producing, they have a very good battery management system. All MG electric cars, they achieve close to 78% of their claim range. The same goes for the ZS EV, the Windsor EV as well, and even the smaller Comet EV. Now, if you calculate 78% of the claimed 449 kilometers, it gives you around 360 kilometers of realistic driving range. But more importantly, when we started the car early in the morning at 100% charge, the displayed indicated range on the MID was around 430 kilometers. So far, we have done just under 100 kilometers and the range has dropped down to 268. So in the real world condition, when you get the Pro, the range that you would actually achieve in the realistic driving condition, under my experience, I would say it would go between 360 to 380 kilometers. And that's a really good figure to have because it gives you over 100 kilometers of the realistic driving range over the 38 kilowatt hour battery pack version. All of that is the assumed figure right now. But we will definitely test out the real world driving range when we get the car back home. When we get the Pro back home, we will drive it from 100% to as close to 0% as possible and tell you what the real world range is like. But if you are interested, let me give you the real world range that we have tested for other cars in the same price point. Now, the Nexon EV with a bigger battery pack, the 45 kilowatt hour, it went close to 370 kilometers. And its sibling, its elder sibling, the Curve EV 55 kilowatt hour, in the same testing condition, it went just under 400 kilometers. So at this price point, this Windsor EV with its close to 360 to 370 kilometers of realistic driving range isn't half too bad, right? Now, with the bigger battery pack and the added features, the weight of the Pro version has gone up by close to 90 kilograms. Now, to compensate for the added weight, the suspension has been worked upon so that the ride quality isn't hampered compared to the 38 kilowatt hour version, says MG. But truth be told, the standard 38 kilowatt hour version, it itself is bit stiffly strung. You do feel the irregularities inside the cabin. You do get all the undulations and all the bumps and creases. You do feel that inside the cabin. That is because of its stiffer suspension setup. Now, the same can be said about this one as well, because the ride quality is on the stiffer side. You do feel the irregularities, but the upside is when you're driving the car on such twisty roads that I'm driving right now, the body roll is definitely well contained. It doesn't roll around a lot. Now, I can't really call it a driver's car because it is a proper family car with a front biased front wheel drive, which isn't very sporty. The steering isn't as communicative. It does feel a bit void of feel. But overall, this is a nice car to have if you enjoy taking the steering wheel more often.
After shooting this video, MG India opened bookings for the Windsor EV Pro, which garnered 8,000 bookings immediately. However, with that, the introductory price tag for the Pro was increased and now it retails at 18.10 lakh rupees ex showroom. This is an increment of around 60,000 rupees, which also affects the BAS, the Battery as a Service program price, which has now been increased to 13.1 lakh rupees ex showroom. And the difference between the top spec 38 kilowatt hour and this Pro is now around 2 lakh rupees.
For that price, you get firstly close to 100 kilometers of range, and that itself is a reason enough to get this one over the standard version. You also get ADAS, but what we think is MG should have also offered the Pro with its bigger battery pack, but also without ADAS edition, which would have reduced the price gap and made it more value for money. Maybe that version will come at a later date. We may never know. Well, coming back to the question, is the Pro worth the extra money over the standard 38 kilowatt hour pack? Well, let me put it this way. The 38 kilowatt hour version, it definitely got many things right in the first try. The only shortcoming that we can think of for that one is the range, or rather the lack of it. And this Pro version, it solves that very issue. And as I mentioned, the same thing for the 45 kilowatt hour version of the next one. With a bigger battery pack, you get a bigger range. And every penny that you spend for getting that extra range is definitely worth it. So you should definitely go ahead and buy the Pro version, because it not only gets you more range, you also get more features on offer, and it's worth every penny if you can stretch your budget. But that's all from me in this video about this Windsor EV Pro. I hope you liked it, and if you did, do hit that like button and share this video with those who's looking to buy a family EV and is wondering whether or not they should go for the Windsor EV. This Pro version will definitely be a good addition to that query. And if you have any other queries regarding the Windsor EV Pro or any other EV in the market, do write them down in the comment section below, and I promise we will address them all personally. And that's all from me in this video. This is Bilal signing off. Until next time.